This is a quick introduction to the email template builder. Once you're inside the builder, on the top you'll find the general toolset, where first you can send a test email to yourself, you can run a spam score on your content, you can also access the general settings of the theme where you can unify the font, family, and also the style on the buttons. If you want to see how this looks like on different devices, you can access a different visibility mode, or you can even click on the preview to see how this looks like in your browser. If you are very particular about how your email look like on different devices, you can run an inbox preview test and check whichever ESP you'd like to see how the email renders. This is credit based, so just make sure you have enough credit to run your tests. You also have access to your revision history, which are automatically saved as you are editing your templates. Usually this is spaced out in 3-minute intervals, and we also save your previously assembled templates, so you can always revert back to a previous version if you'd like. Your main work will probably be on the left panel and the top blue toolbar. So if you want to start with a template, you choose the template option, and the right panel will open up a selection of templates that we've put together. Hover over the templates that you want to use to have a general preview, or you can obviously drag it onto the grid to preview the entire template assembled. If you don't want to use a pre-made full-on theme, you can click on pre-designed blocks, and this gives you almost a ready content blocks for you to drag onto the screen. For instance, I can choose this header if I want to, or perhaps just choose a simple one right here. So I'm gonna drag it onto the screen, and I can go through the different content. So if I want to have pricing tables, if I want to have events, which are just simple event related sort of block content, you can. And the last two options on the bottom, we have dynamic blocks. These are more interactive content. For instance, you have this countdown right now that you can drag onto the screen and specify your event date. For instance, I have an event which is at the end of the month. I can set the expiry date or the event date, and the countdown will actually take that date and start the countdown. And for me to access the setting of this block, you can see I hover over and I can see the entire outline in black. This is where I can determine this is the block that I've just dragged onto the screen. These options on the left will have the ability to move this to a different position. I can access the settings if there's settings related to it. In this instance, we have a countdown, so this is where you can access it. And you can also make a copy of this if you want. You can remove this block, you can undo, redo, and if you like to tinker around with the code, you can definitely do that. Just make sure any edits you do are not going to limit the ability of the builder to allow you to drag and drop different elements. If I want to continue using or building my theme, but I don't want to use my pre-made templates or blocks, what I can do is click on Design Elements, and from here I will choose my layouts. For instance, I want to add 2 images or an image button and a call to action headline on between these 2 blocks right here. So what I'll do, I'll have a split in half sort of content or layout. I'm going to drag an image onto the first box, a headline to the second, and then I'm going to just add some content and then the button underneath. Very simple. Now I can do additional styling. Now if I click on the image, the left panel will give me a whole bunch of options. One of them is setting the image path. I can click on the file manager where it will open up all my content that are pre-uploaded, or what I can do is access a library of animated GIFs and stock photos. If you don't have any content handy and you simply want to get your hand on some cool images that are open source, you have the ability to do that directly from your file manager. Okay. If you have synchronized your e-commerce store, you can actually look up your products, and I'll show you in a second how you can use our e-commerce blocks. Now additional options on the styling, you can click on the style on the left, and this will have some default options. For instance, the width and the height of the image. You can choose the padding, And here you see I can decide which side I'm styling. For instance, I can do the top, bottom, or I can click in the middle to choose or unchoose all the different sides of the image. If there's a style that's not available in front of you, just click on the plus, search for that particular style, perhaps the corners, and then click in the middle, change the radius, and hit apply. Okay. So this will allow you to play around a little bit with the image and the styling on the different blocks. So you'll notice, because this is an image, it has an option to link, change the photo, and some styling. If I click on the button, I can change the background. So slightly different style options available now. So I can click on the color, maybe make this an orange button. Okay. Play around with the corners and manage any of the styling that I like. Okay. If you'd like to move around certain parts of the template, for instance, if I don't want to show this title here, I can click on it, simply drag this item or this element and just place it elsewhere. Maybe I can align it or center it as well. Okay. Any text edits can be managed from the top, where you have first your shortcodes to insert someone's name, first, last, and so on onto the screen. And we have a nice library if you want to make the name proper and perhaps divide this by 2 and have a fallback in case the first name was not available. So we have a nice library in our help section. You can definitely refer back to the library. Okay. Once you finish the theme, you can preview it on the different devices. And again, you can use the top toolbar to send the test to yourself, inbox preview, and now you probably see a couple of saved versions on here you can revert back to. One last thing I would like to cover is the ability to synchronize your store onto the builder if you have an e-commerce shop. Let's roll to our pre-designed blocks, choose one of our e-commerce options, and then drag it onto the screen. So for instance, this is one of them. I can click on the settings when I hover over the block, and here you can upload your product feed from your settings page on VBOUT. If you haven't done so, just click here and follow the instructions. If you have done so, you simply choose your store, and you can have multiple store product feeds synchronized, and then search for your products. Let's just type in a couple of products here. This is one of them. This is another. I'm going to choose 4 items. And I can hide or show descriptions if I like. We automatically get the product images. We get the product title, pricing, and also the details. So everything is already pre-linked. You can see here the link to the product. This definitely saves you a lot of time having to go in and make download of the products, get the images, descriptions manually. So this can save you a lot of time actually synchronizing your stores onto the system. And you can continue the customization by changing the photos. You can remove some blocks, you can add additional, and so on.